Well, there's a shot of our own Maggie Wolfendale, the aerial shot. And certainly the weather didn't feel like December 10th. Welcome to Aqueduct Insider. Maggie, did you know you were on camera?
I had no idea. Pretty creepy, though.
You're a little stalkerish, huh?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I would have never known anybody was shooting me from way up there. That's close to where the patrol judges sit, right?
Actually, above where the patrol judges are, and there's a little platform out there. A little scary. I've watched a few races from up there myself, but great view of the planes landing at Kennedy Airport, and doesn't feel like December, does it?
No, I'm pretty hot in here, to be quite honest. But yeah, reaching nearly 60 degrees. It's December 10th here, Richie, and I'm not complaining. I am soaking up the sunshine in the Big A paddock.
Yeah, every day we get like this, we're stealing another day, one day less of winter. Maggie, we got a lot of news, and one of the things that's going to change as of New Year's Day, the new whip rule here in New York, you cannot hit a horse 3 times consecutively. Doesn't mean you can hit a horse only 3 times, just 3 times in a row.
Right, and we were kind of talking before we went on for the show that it kind of is almost a moot point in a way, because the most effective way to really use your stick on a horse is when they're coming underneath of themselves. So it's really not conducive for a horse to propel themselves forward to continuously hit them. So, I mean, yes, it's in the best interest for the horses, and I'm glad it's there, but does it really make a difference?
Well, I don't think it does make a difference, except maybe it'll settle young riders down where they don't feel like they're having to show people, look how much I'm hitting a horse. Yes,
no, I do agree with that. And it does seem as though that our young riders coming up do and are aware of kind of that negative connotation with the stick. So, you know, watching the Ortiz boys come up, they certainly had that in mind. They always look after their horses.
Yeah, I agree. The younger riders are very conscious of that, and rightfully so. A whip doesn't make a horse run faster. Horse has to want it.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of horses that are wanting it or horses that are good, how about the horses running over in Hong Kong? And we got the Hong Kong Vase was drawn, and we're taking a look at Flintshire, who was so good on our Sword Dancer.
Oh, he was. And I kind of fell in love with this horse when he came over to Saratoga for this Sword Dancer performance. He's really, really cool. And I followed this up with a second in the Arc de la Triomphe and is coming back to Hong Kong to kind of defend his title in the Longines Vase. And also, he'll meet up with a fellow European in Cirrus de Agles, who is a 9-year-old who has tried 6 times to win this race, but has come up short in every attempt thus far.
Well, I'm so happy you had to say that name and I didn't.
It's a tough one. Yeah. I kind of muffled through it anyway.
Yes, and then you've got Mongolian Saturday running in the Hong Kong Sprint, and we saw him take down our Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint.
Right. He was pretty good here, Richie, and it looks as though that Florent Giroux will make the trip over to Hong Kong, and he's going the 6 furlongs over there. His trainer's citing that maybe he's a little bit better going the 5.5, but he proved himself. He proved himself that he belongs in this kind of race, taking down that Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint.
Well, certainly the connections made the Breeders' Cup an international event, even with their traditional gear on in the paddock. It was pretty interesting. And you've also got some American participation in Green Mask, who bruised a foot earlier in the week, but Wesley Ward, his trainer, says he's good to go. How do you think that affects him?
Well, you know, it depends how bad that foot bruise was, and 2, he already is a horse prone to foot problems because he has on glue-on shoes. So that right there makes you a little weary of him. It depends how the ground is and depends how he handles it. I think a ground that maybe has a little give in it might be a little more conducive to him.
It'd be better for him. I think it's so hard to win these kind of international grade ones. You want no hiccups going into them.
But Wesley Ward knows how to do it.
No doubt, no doubt. I'm not going to question his ability, that's for sure. Well, speaking of turf sprinters, or sprinters in general, how about Ben's Cat? He's going to return as a 10-year-old.
This is so exciting. One of the coolest horses that we have running around here. He is 30 for 53 lifetime, Richie, and that is a full set of full papers. There's 30 spots to record a horse's wins on their full papers, and Ben's Cat, he's all full, so they're going to have to get an extended page for him on his full papers. And 2, I looked back through his PPs, and he had won his first 8 races. His first defeat came here at the Big A, and even going back to those first 2 races, you could have had him for 20 or 25,000.
Wow, pretty incredible. And King Leatherberry, his trainer, inducted in Racing's Hall of Fame this year. And I think some of it definitely was on the back of what Ben's Cat has been able to accomplish.
Surely. I mean, he belonged in there prior to what Ben's Cat has done for him, but just a horseman that it seems to be timeless. He seems to win with whatever kind of horse, no matter what decade it is. King Leatherberry, he's there, he's showing up.
Well, King Leatherberry, he certainly would like the kind of horses that we're running in race 5 today. Hard-hitting claimers going 6 furlongs. And let's send it up to John Imbrial, high above the Aqueduct Grandstand.
And they're off. Finding Candy, attractive ride. Storm Pursuit now comes on through. And down at the rail, it's Rockford. Storm Pursuit and Rockford heads apart for the lead. An attractive ride sits right behind in third. Nonstop is next in fourth. Narvaez on the outside in fifth. A length and a half to Finding Candy in sixth. And Morty's Miracle is the early trailer in seventh. The quarter went in 22 and 4/5 seconds. It is Rockford at the rail by a head. Storm Pursuit on the outside is second by 3/4 of a length, with Attractive Ride on the outside in third. 2.5 lengths. Finding Candy, finding a way through now down at the rail from fourth. Then comes Nonstop, Morty's Miracle, and Narvaez. The half went in 46 and 1. They're in the stretch. Rockford has come away with the lead. Finding Candy continues to gain down at the rail. And then it's Attractive Ride. Narvaez on the far outside. It is Rockford trying to hold off Finding Candy. Rockford, Finding Candy. It's those two right to the finish, and Rockford prevails over Finding Candy. And it was close for third among Narvaez, Attractive Ride, and Nonstop.
Maggie, I thought speed was a good attribute to have today. The one-horse Rockford showed speed from the inside, but pretty stiff challenge up the rail from the 5, Finding Candy.
Yeah, it was, and he did make it tight on him there, Cornelio Velasquez, against the 5 and Irad Ortiz. But Rockford, just in career form right now, going back through his last couple of races, I mean, hasn't been worse than second in his last 5 here, and is now 6 for 27 lifetime. This time around, though, for David Jacobson and Bruce Golden Racing.
Yeah, big, strong, good-looking horse, and I think you made a good point. Cornelio Velasquez race rode Irad Ortiz without bothering him.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, it won him the race. And, two, I mean, Rockford, he's been pretty game as of late, so I'm sure he kind of liked eyeballing a horse there on his inside.
Well, good win for him and his connections. Let's turn the page right over to race 6. We got maidens, 3-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs. Here's Johnny Brielle once again.
And they're off. Prepper sprints right out for the early lead. Quickly opens up a length and a half. Amoral now comes on through. Maybe a Diamond is there. On the extreme outside is Henrik Rules. In between horses is Richie's Rich. Then it's Chase the Love in 6th, and Ideal Quality is 7th. Prepper has the lead here by 3/4 of a length. Then it's Richie's Rich, and on the outside, Henrik Rules. The quarter went in 22 and 4. Amoral runs in 4th down on the inside with Maybe a Diamond in 5th. The break of 4 to Ideal Quality. Chase the Love has dropped back to last. Prepper is holding on to the lead as they come for the quarter pole. It's Prepper down on the inside and leading now by 2. Richie's Rich in 2nd, then Henrik Rules in 3rd, followed by Amoral, Maybe a Diamond, Ideal Quality, and Chase the Love. All going after and chasing Prepper, who has built a 7-length lead. And Prepper is on to victory here. Much the best. Graduation day for Prepper. Amoral comes on for 2nd, then Maybe a Diamond, and Richie's Rich.
Prepper was impressive. He bounded out of the gate and took them flag fall to that's all. But how about the run from the first-time starter, Amoral, who really didn't like the kickback early?
Yeah, you could see that head was high. He was climbing, but you could also sense that this guy can run, because despite him looking totally uncomfortable, he was still able to gain ground. And once he ducked to the inside where he wasn't facing quite as much kickback, ironically, down the stretch, he actually ran on pretty well. So I think he's one that we have to keep our eyes on, and with experience and kind of racing stage, he will learn to maybe handle that kickback, or he might learn to break pretty quickly because he looks like a horse that should be fast.
Yeah, he does look like he should be fast, and I just think that experience should propel him forward. But how about the run that John Paracella's been on? His winning at such a high percentage, and his horses have really been performing.
Yeah, they have. He's so much fun to be around, too. He's always a character. It's always a pleasure to see him in the paddock.
I was listening to him on the radio last night on Horse Racing Radio Network, and he was so much fun to listen to. It was an hour. He made my ride go a lot faster.
I'm sure of it.
Well, we're going to turn the page from this segment, and we're going to take a little break. We'll be back with more Insider.
Now you can enjoy your favorite pro and fantasy football teams while playing the races in style as Longshots welcomes back NFL Sunday Ticket. With over 400 HD TVs, 270 individual carols, a full-service sports bar and food menu, Longshots is the place to catch all the great racing and football action. So come on out, bring your friends, bring your league to Longshots, located on the second floor at Aqueduct.
And there is one of the Riding Davis clan, Jockey Davis, sporting a new hairdo. She was here shooting a promo for the Permanently Disabled Jockey Fund. And if everybody remembers last year, and they did it to the Taylor Swift song, Shake It Off, that was a lot of fun.
With Taylor Rice being Taylor Swift, and it was pretty funny. It was really good.
It was really well done. I can't wait to see the finished product of this one. Mitch Levitis did a great job with the last one. And Sharon Dominguez, of course. And Frank the cameraman, a whole collaboration of very talented people for a very worthwhile cause. Let's head over to race 7. We're going to go 2 turns. Oh, excuse me. We got to talk about sign up for your NYRA.com wagering account and get up to $125 new member match bonus. Watch and wager at NYRA.com. Now we can head to race 7, our first 2-turn race we're going to take a look at today. And let's send it back up to Johnny I.
From the inside, Push Me, Pull You. Now Run-A-Dub-Dub moves up to grab the lead. So Good to Go on the move from the extreme outside, and La Inesperada is up close. Racing into the turn. So Good to Go clears the field, gets to the rail, and has the lead here. So Good to Go by a length and a half. La Inesperada and Run-A-Dub-Dub right together, second and third. Weekend Scores running in fourth. Push Me, Pull You down on the inside in fifth. Just Got Out is sixth, and Bargaining Table trails the field in seventh. The opening quarter mile, 24 and 2/5 seconds. They're heading up the backstretch. So Good to Go has built a 2.5 length lead. La Inesperada giving chase in second with Run-A-Dub-Dub in third, almost 5 lengths off the lead. Then it's a Weekend Score, Push Me, Pull You, and Just Got Out. Those 3 are all together, and Bargaining Table remains at the back. The half, 48 and 3/5 seconds. So Good to Go, controlling the pace here and leading the field into the far turn. So Good to Go by 2. La Inesperada is getting closer now. The lead is down to a length. Now 3/4 of a length. So Good to Go by a half length. La Inesperada is in between horses, and Run-A-Dub-Dub runs at him on the outside. Push Me, Pull You is next in fourth, and they're at the top of the stretch. La Inesperada pokes ahead in front. So Good to Go on the inside. Run-A-Dub-Dub on the outside, and just in behind is Push Me, Pull You as they come down for the 8th pole. It is La Inesperada with the lead. So Good to Go in second. Push Me, Pull You moves to third. Run-A-Dub-Dub is dropped back. It's La Inesperada to win here by 3. So Good to Go held on to second over Longshot, Push Me, Pull You.
La Inesperada set the perfect trip, Maggie, under Kendrick Carmouche. Danny Gargan gets another win.
Yeah, and she looked as though she had kind of taken a step forward. First off, a claim here for Danny, as she was a game second in that off-the-turf race back on November 20th against Reese's Candy Rose. But she dominated this field here around the inner track oval going the 2 turns.
And So Good to You, or So Good to Go, I'm sorry, finished second. I think that kind of underscored that inside speed was pretty good today.
Yeah, aggressive ride there out of the gate from Harry Hernandez. And a heads up, too. It's not like he totally rushed her and got her all off her feet. He just said, no, I'm getting to lead, I'm getting to lead. And he did very consciously. And I think it was a very good ride. And obviously it helped her. She was able to hold on for second.
Yeah, a nice, I thought the same thing. A nice ride by him. Aggressive, but still in control. Let's head on to race 8. We got fillies going 6 furlongs and other than, and the favorite, well, she had the hood on today. That's Mrs. Hudson.
Stormy Sky and Mrs. Hudson go out for the lead, and Picture Day is right there on the outside. Then it's Scataway, and Rachel's Temper trails in 5th. Mrs. Hudson is the leader here by almost a length. Stormy Sky and Picture Day are right together, 2nd and 3rd. Scataway's on the outside. Rachel's Temper is down at the rail. Mrs. Hudson is the leader here through an opening quarter mile in 23 and 4/5 seconds. Mrs. Hudson leads by a length. Stormy Sky in 2nd by a half length, and Picture Day's on the outside in 3rd. Rachel's Temper now up to 4th. Scataway is the trailer, and Mrs. Hudson has now opened up on the field. Mrs. Hudson in front by 4. Ran a half in 46 and 4. Rachel's Temper down at the rail. Then comes Scataway, and on the outside, it's Stormy Sky. Mrs. Hudson trying to hang in there for another 16th of a mile. Mrs. Hudson, a little more than a length. Stormy Sky is 2nd. It's Mrs. Hudson to win it here. Stormy Sky was 2nd. Then Rachel's Temper and Scataway.
I thought a real strong performance by Mrs. Hudson. She kind of was idle in mid-stretch, and then Jose Ortiz shook her up, and she kind of reasserted herself.
Well, she showed a new dimension here, especially with those blinkers on. She took command from the gate, and that was all she wrote. And she seemed like a horse that, well, that might be a good game plan with her, and it certainly paid off for Kieran McLaughlin and his crew. But I thought the 2nd place finisher ran very well in here. Stormy Sky, a filly who I do think her connections kind of thought highly of her last year as a 2-year-old. It's taken her a while to kind of put things together, but she's run well in her last 2 efforts, I thought, and seems to have a nice rapport with apprentice rider Eric Consell.
He kind of keeps after it. Looked at one point like she might give it up and might not even hit the board, and then she kept coming to be 2nd, and she was very distinctive with that big white face of hers.
Looks like a cow.
Yeah. I wasn't going to say it. I'm glad you did. Well, let's check out all of that else that happened today with races 1, 2, 3, 4, and 9.
And Ducasa has now fallen 5 lengths from the lead as the field hits the head of the stretch. And it's Sonora the one to catch. Sonora's got a 3-length lead. Majestic Jessica, Ducasa on the outside. Star Dynasty now trails. It's Sonora in front. The lead is 4 lengths. Then Ducasa and Majestic Jessica. Sonora is still there. Sonora by 3.5 as they come down for the finish. And it is Sonora, the longest shot in the short field. Went off at 9-1 and wins it. Ducasa was 2nd, then Majestic Jessica and Star Dynasty. Those 2, Captain Taze is tailed off. Then Chelios and Ali Saro into the stretch. Old Mexico on the outside. Bayesian Summer digging down at the rail, not giving up, and Forest Boy is in between horses. Chelios now moves into 4th. Then Ali Saro. Now Old Mexico has spurted clear. Old Mexico on to victory here as the even money favorite. Chelios comes from out of it to get 2nd over Ali Saro. Augie's coming, Dada Maino on the outside. It's Augie's coming with the lead into the stretch. Dada Maino and Hunter Strike chasing. Augie's coming, and here comes Hunter Strike now on the outside. Augie's coming, and Hunter Strike. Hunter Strike to poke ahead in front of Augie's coming with less than a 16th to the wire. Hunter Strike on the outside. Augie's coming battles on. They come for the finish. Hunter Strike is the winner. Augie's coming was 2nd. Then Union River and Dada Maino. Girl Friday, who's built a 3-length lead as they hit the head of the stretch. Is Girl Friday in front now by 4. Folk Song is in 2nd. Gemma Bell's on the outside. Then Let Me Drop, Lollipop, and French Dressing down at the rail. His Girl Friday in front by a half dozen lengths. His Girl Friday and Jackie Davis about to pull off a huge upset here. His Girl Friday at 48-1. Then it was Lemon Drop Lollipop and Gemma Bell. It's Midnight Bounty in fourth, followed by Riding First Class, Enduring Touch going wide into the stretch. Enduring Touch and Glare Ice, and they are heads apart for the lead, with Midnight Bounty continuing to gain as they come past the 8th pole. Here comes Midnight Bounty to the inside of Enduring Touch, and Tacchiello is putting in a late run. Now Midnight Bounty grabs the lead, and Jose Ortiz has his 4th win of the day. Tacchiello up for second. Enduring Touch faded to third.
Well, Maggie, that was Jose Ortiz getting his 4th winner of the day in the 9th on the Steve Caceres train Midnight Bounty. But our second look today is another young rider who made a pretty big splash today, Jockey Davis.
Yeah, Jockey bringing in some long shots. I mean, it was the 4-horse race in the first that was 9-1 Sonora for Dunas Shemengal, and 2. Then, as we look at the next race, at nearly 47 or 46 to 1. I do believe our girl Friday here, she really kind of tried to blow up the pick 5, that's for sure. But her aggression paid off here. She sent our girl Friday, especially down through the rail, down on the rail, to take over the lead on the backstretch, and this horse got brave and never stopped with her.
Yeah, and she's done it before. She likes to put horse on the lead. Aggression is good. It pays off. Well, there are the inner track jockey standings as Jose Ortiz jumped off to a quick start with 4 wins today. Harry Hernandez, an apprentice, up there. Gabriel Saez, and of course, our own Jockey Davis. Bunch of claims. And Maggie, we've seen this all year. It's like non-stop, and it seems like a race like the 5th race. Those hard-knocking horses around the $32,000 mark seem to get a lot of play.
Yeah, they do. I mean, Rockford, he's claimed once again. Two-way shake goes to Pat Reynolds. And nonstop can be a bit of a handful. And then Morty's Miracle as well. I mean, they just seem to go and be traded back and forth between trainers.
Well, that's all that happened today. We're going to take another quick timeout, and we'll be back to check out what's going to happen tomorrow here at the Big A. There are our stewards up in the stand, high above the grandstand, and looking through their binoculars. The last one on the end there is Jimmy Edwards, who will be our new Jockey Club steward as of New Year's Day, although he's filling in a couple of days this week.
Yeah, looking forward to having him up there in the steward's booth.
Yeah, I like having another rider in the stand. I think it brings a different perspective. All due respect to all stewards, I think it's important to have a former jockey in there because he brings another thing to complement the other steward's skills already. Let's head into tomorrow's program, and we're going to start with the race 7, and it's 2-year-olds going 2 turns, and there's only one horse in here, Maggie, and that's Spin Cycle, who's been around 2 turns, but that was on the turf. How much do you factor that into what you're looking at?
Well, obviously, it is a bit of a stretch, excuse the pun, but I think on this track, it is a lot easier for horses to be able to stretch out around the 2 turns, especially if they've a bit of early speed, because I think it plays nicely into their hands. Now, there are some horses who have successfully going the 1-turn mile, which I do think helps them as well.
Well, I think it gives them a lot of bottom for sure. But first, let's check out Vincento, who won first time out. And we've got 2 horses that won impressively first time out. Do you look for these horses to improve second time?
I think sometimes it depends on, well, it depends on several things, such as the class of the field, who has them, and whether you're asking them to do something different second time around. Really, with Vincento, we're not asking him to do anything different. He's got a stellar pedigree. Rudy does a great thing. The only thing against him is I question the quality of that field.
Okay, and he did come from off the pace. The other first-time starter, who's now making his second start, Charming Indy, well, he went wire to wire.
He did. Now, I think it's a little more of a stretch for him to be able to be successful tomorrow, because there are other pace horses in here besides him. And 2, Dominic Scutino's numbers aren't quite as good. Only 2 for 16 with a negative ROI of only 35 cents for horses who broke their maiden first time out coming back in their second starts.
Okay, now we're taking a look at Celtic Chaos, or no, actually, this is New York Song. New York Song.
Sorry about that, wrong graphic.
Yeah, it took him
New York
5
Song.
starts to break his maiden, but at least, or 4 starts, but now he's got some foundation going in this 5th.
And I like the progression that this horse has shown. He's gotten faster in each of his starts. He's gotten better physically, to me at least. So I think he's a horse that might be heading in that right direction until he gets to run out of his own stall, which you do see some horses particularly like.
Yeah, I think it's an advantage. They don't have to van over. It doesn't upset the routine as much. And usually Rick Violet's horses are as good as they're going to be their first start or two. This horse has shown steady progression. I like that as well.
And two, I think besides his last race, which we still don't know with the quality of it, that the horses that he faced prior to that, such as Flexibility, Spooked Out, and Fish Trap Road, they're pretty nice horses. So he's run competitively with them too.
Well, let's head on right to Friday's 8th race. And Tricky Zippy, she's awfully good. Do you think she just lays over this field?
No, I think she could be upset here. I mean, she is the talent of the field for sure, but she got a lot of horses and a lot of mares in here that have some back class.
Like Willett. Willett will be coming from off the pace, and the last time we saw her win was here on the inner track.
Yes, and this is actually Tricky Zippy as we check out her succession of kind of wins and good races that she had, starting with the Union Avenue. And two, last time out, she took down a field of open company horses. She has a good stalking style, especially for this inner track. I mean, I do think speed has an advantage, but I also think horses that can sit that kind of trip, maybe behind the speed as well, are effective. So, yes, she is the one that has the best recent form.
Well, and then here's Willett, who had this good inner track form last year. She's got 3 starts on the inner, 2 wins, and a 3rd. You got to think she's going to be tough.
Certainly. She is the most established of the field. The 7-year-old mare has banked a little over 787,000. Yes, her races in 2015 haven't been quite as good, but she's been in tougher fields, and I think she gets a little class relief.
Little class relief here, and she gets pace to run it. One of those pace horses is Atlantic Smile, who we're watching, who's going to get run down here in the Broadway last year by Isabel. Good.
Yes, Isabel on the outside, and this was actually a day where I'm pretty sure the rail was pretty golden, her speed was pretty golden, and Isabel was pretty impressive. Now, she hasn't been back to that kind of form as of late. The thing I found a little bit interesting is that maybe Atlantic Smile, she shakes loose here.
Well, if she gets loose, it's always dangerous on the track. How about Court Dancer off the claim? Michael Dubbs, very successful with his claims.
Yeah, and I think she was flattered in this race here. We had a couple horses run back out of this race and do very well. And boy, I mean, Rudy and Michael Dubb, as you just said, they are awfully shrewd. And I like the fact that she actually takes a bit of a step up in class. I mean, she could have came back for the optional 40 once again and ran for the 40. So I think it's promising that they take her a step up.
Yeah, showing some confidence in her for sure. So we'll see how that shakes out tomorrow. But as we wrap up the show, we're going to leave you with Tonalist. He was announced he retires. He's retiring at the end of the year and heading to Lane's End. Well, let's check out his Jockey Club Gold Cup victory in 2015.
The Jockey Club Gold Cup, and it is Wicked Strong, and Tonalist has joined him. And Tonalist has taken the lead, pulling away from Wicked Strong, then FNX and Coach Inge on the outside. They're coming into the final 16th, and John Velasquez is riding Tonalist to another win in the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Wicked Strong was second best today, and then FNX and Coach Inge in a final time of 2 minutes 2.16 seconds.